Dear Mother, I'm still eagerly awaiting your next letter, but I couldn't wait to write to you again. Things are going so splendidly for me right now. I've been working out a plan. A project. Creative piece? And now that it's coming to fruition, I can't control my impulse to tell someone about it. As I write this, I'm still afraid you won't understand what I do, that you'll be afraid of it and afraid of me. But I have no one else to tell, and I must tell someone. Do you remember the neighbor I mentioned in my last letter? You know, the criminal mastermind playing the role of a mild-mannered accountant. He kept up his ignorance act for quite some time, but after all that, his trial is to be held tomorrow. He was starting to oversell it anyway. I will be in attendance, of course. I even got him a lawyer. It's about 4 a.m. here, and he's surely lying in bed awake. He desperately wishes he could be resting up for his day on the slab, but he can't turn his mind off. He's reconsidering his life of crime, wondering if he was foolish to think he could get away with everything, even with his mastery of the bureaucratic process. He can't stand to lie for a moment longer, so he gets up for a glass of water. He's careful not to make too much noise. My husband, Hans, is sleeping in the bathtub. Did I mention I got married? I wish so much you could have been there. He takes a sip of water, but he's a bundle of nerves and his stomach won't accept it, so he spits it out. He realizes he hasn't even picked out what he's wearing and opens his dresser. He's been distracted this past week, and it shows. His shirts are all tossed in, crumpled like discarded schematics for inventions he wished he'd never thought of. So he takes them out one by one, folding them with the mathematical precision that only someone so criminally sociopathic could muster. He picks the last crumpled shirt from the drawer, but drops it almost instantly. What on earth is that? He whispers to himself. He doesn't know that Hans was storing a weapon in that dresser. A weapon given to him by his maniac superior, Franziska Wilhelm. Given to him by Franziska Wilhelm for the purpose of murdering someone. Someone who she thinks tried to murder her cockeyed afterbirth of a daughter. Her cockeyed afterbirth of a daughter who made a certain group of people so angry that they hired me to kill her. Who some very respectable individuals asked me politely to kill. Who I said I would kill as a favor to a close friend. Who I once joked about killing it. What I already was too drunk to realize was a tape recorder party. In any case, Wilhelm is on the warpath and won't rest until everyone after her little precious is good and dead. And she thinks she has a clue in the form of my current employer's business card, which I placed at the scene of an intentionally failed attempt to kill someone who looks like the brat. Now, remember when I said I got him a lawyer? That's right, Wilhelm was present at their first meeting and saw his business card. So now she thinks he's complicit in the murder attempts, and she's delegated the lion's share of her creative piece to my husband. Don't worry, Mama, I didn't marry a murderous man, just an obedient one. Even then, Hans was hoping that this would all go away. Maybe if he stuffed the weapon at the bottom of the dresser, the task would stay there with it, and so he missed his only clean shot, leaving him with no option besides shooting my boss outside in broad daylight as he walks into the courtroom for the trial. It's beautiful. And just like that, I've gone on forever and lost track of time. Like any power-hungry madman, he's furious at the nerve of whoever tried to slip it past him. Whose is it? He goes through the list of everyone it could be, but I'm not on it. He doesn't take me seriously enough. He would never think I could play him for a fool. He knows what I am, what I do, and still he patronizes me with that dumb, love-struck act. As if I'm not to be trusted with his secrets. That makes me furious. So it's with great pleasure that I imagine him flailing around his domicile, trying to trip over whatever secrets may be hidden before they blow up in his face. He checks the back of everything first. The bookshelf, the cupboard, the fridge. Nothing strange. He checks the top of everything next. The fridge, the cupboard, the bookshelf. I'm not giving him much credit in terms of creativity, but not all criminals are artists. Some are bureaucrats. I can only imagine by now he's looked around enough to see further traces of his recent preoccupation. The top of his dresser is inundated with briefcase linings, pocket entrails, and papers of indeterminate importance in total disorder. They may not even all be his. And then it occurs to him. In a matter of weeks, Hans, a man he knows virtually nothing about, has transformed from a scourge to a confidant. And all of a sudden, the collections of every possible Hans floods his mind. Frustrated Hans, impulsive Hans, scheming Hans, hungry Hans. Well, they're all hungry Hans. And aside from that, the only commonality that he can identify across the lot of them is that they all have motive to turn that gun on him. Mama, this is the best creative piece I've ever worked on. I'm trembling as I'm writing you about it, especially now because if I've been correct about everything so far, he is now opening the magazine of the pistol and removing all the ammunition. Something a criminal as hardened as he is will have no problem with. He has the bullets in his hand right now, and he's on his way to dispose of them. Wiping his print off the gun is no more than a reflex for him, and he puts it back where he found it. Hans is a sweet boy, but he'll be too absent-minded to notice how light the gun is. When he pulls the trigger, nothing will happen, except that all-too-familiar click that rings in his nightmares. He'll drop everything and run for his life. I doubt any of us will ever see him again, though Franziska Wilhelm will no doubt spend the rest of her life chasing the poor living panic button. As for Hans, he will be picked up for attempted murder. I might bail him out if he doesn't seem like a liability to me. He is my husband, after all. And that only leaves the grinning sadist next door, whose lawyer, for reasons he won't be able to explain, never showed. He's off to prison too. That he can't hurt me. All three of them out of my hair. Then, finally, it will just be me and her. Me and baby Schatzi, together in New York with no one to scream for. It isn't professional to torture a target before killing them, but this isn't a job anymore. It hasn't been a job since I missed the shot and she forced me out of my home. Since I moved to this trash heap of a country where neighbors harass you, bosses unload onto you, and the donuts kill you. A country that I had to marry the village idiot just to stay in. That foul, worthless imp destroyed my life, and now after 6 months of planning, I get to destroy hers. I may have been driven out of Austria by the hunt for Schatzi's almost killer, but on the bright side, I've been in America only half a year and I've already done what may be my greatest work. I wonder if that neighbor of mine will put 2 and 2 together and accept the fact that I outsmarted him. Let it be known that rotting in prison is the price to be paid for underestimating me. To him, everything is numerical. Yeses and nos, corrects and incorrects. I, on the other hand, am an artist. I've never been able to see such rigidness in the world. I only see fluids, bends and curves. And if some of those curves end in sharp points, even better. It was so adorable that first night here, trembling before the law, those desperate eyes looking to me for salvation. But I'm glad Hans interrupted us when he did. I'm too good for him. To be perfectly honest, from where I'm standing now, I'm too good for everyone. Except for you, Mother. I hope that you're in good health, and I can't wait to see your face again. Your loving daughter, Anja.
Explain. I'm speechless.
We both know that isn't true.
Here, I thought you were trying to do me in, but you were gonna kill someone in cold blood to save my life. Are you still gonna go through with it?
Mr. K, great inspector that I am, it is not for me to decide whether you are innocent or guilty, good or evil, chocolate or vanilla, boiled or fried, but I digest. We've both done plenty of reprehensible things to one another in the past few months, but we've always been there to do those things. As my family in Bamberg likes to say, true friends die before each other, which I find to be a heartwarming meditation on loyalty as well as a paradox. Anyway, my point is that at least half of what I've just said refers to us in some...
I understand what you mean, and I agree. And I'm immensely grateful for what you're going to do for me. If, for whatever reason, you don't make the shot, I would forgive you completely. Take it. Aren't you going to unlock the handcuff?
Aren't you going to detach your arm?
I can't detach my arm.
I can't unlock the handcuff.
It's just the one loop, Hans. I know you have to leave this one on.
No. You see, when I was placed under InspeKtion, stewardship of the key to the handcuffs was transferred to Frau Wilhelm.
So you don't have the key?
No.
Can you get it?
No.
You have to be able to get it.
You're right. How about this? Frau Wilhelm, Mr. K stole my gun and attached it to his body. Please release him from his handcuffs immediately. That needs work.
Are you telling me I have to go to my trial tomorrow with a gun chained to my hand?
That would appear to be the situation.
What have you done? You couldn't think of a better place to hide this than my dresser?
Well, in my defense, I did not consider it likely that you would think to chain it to yourself.
Someone told me recently that I needed to trust my instincts more.
Well, I'll say what we're both probably thinking. What are we gonna do?
We need to approach this with the innocence of a child. What would a child do when... I'm trying to think what a child would do. Ah!
Very good. Now what?